Hello, friends, and welcome to your 2024 live energy reading. If you're catching the replay, welcome. We're going to be going over some energy stuff that's going to come in 2024 is going to be the year of abundance, and I'll explain more about that in a little bit. But take what resonates and leave what doesn't, right? This is your invitation to really just sit back and receive, really feel into what I'm saying with your body instead of your mind. And the reason why I bring this up is because, especially when we've gone through things like schooling and we've been raised in certain cultures or with different paradigms, and we are working on making these shifts into finding who it is that we truly are, what it's going to make us fulfilled, us successful, us happy in our lives, we have to go through the filter of what other people have thought first, right? Like what we have been taught, what other people think, et cetera, et cetera. And all of these kind of rules that we've established for ourselves, all of these ideas of how things work or how we should be, that is going to be the thinking mind. That's going to be the conscious filter that we gather new information from. And when we do that, we can oftentimes block ourselves from receiving the wisdom that truly resonates with us because we think, oh, that can't be possible. Oh, that goes against what I was thinking. That goes against what I believe. And at the same time, you're here for a reason. Right. Like, I don't believe that there's anything as such as like a coincidence. Everything is meant to be the way it is. You were meant to find this. I was meant to find you. And so if what I'm saying is triggering to you or is, doesn't fully resonate right now, but you're like, oh, there's something to this, I invite you to give yourself that time and that space to really dive into what that means for yourself. Practice safety within yourself, like practice this emotional safety, the maturity and the wisdom for you to know what you can handle, what you can't handle. Because this can also be sometimes confronting, especially if you're being called out on certain behaviors, certain thought patterns, certain feelings that you've been suppressing. It can be a little confronting, it can be really uncomfortable, right? And that's what this growth journey also invites you to, is it's not all rainbow and sunshine, right? Like, if we want to be able to have extraordinary things, live an extraordinary life, and yet we see so many people living ordinary lives, there's a reason why there's certain people who experience that and other people who don't. We all have the ability to tap into it. It's for all of us, right? But it's for the ones who want to take it. So it's really not for everyone. That being said, I also want to give you space right here to set an intention. Why are you here? What questions do you have? What answers are you looking for in your own life? Are there any things that are going on in your life where you've been feeling confused or uncertain about or called out on, and that's why you're here? Set the intention to really receive everything that you're meant to receive and leave having gotten the clarity, the answers that you've been searching for. Okay. So let's take a collective deep breath. Deep breath in through the nose and exhaling through the mouth. Beautiful. So, friends, let's I'm just checking some things right here. Let's go ahead and get started. I have 5 decks out with me that I'm going to be pulling from intuitively. And if anything comes up for me, I will be letting you know. And if there's anything that you want answered, just go ahead and put it in the chat. If you are catching this replay and you have any questions, feel free to DM me on Instagram at Jensui Coaching. That's JENCUI Coaching. And I'll be happy to answer any questions that I can within the context of, a chat and now a reading through that. I'll also be talking about the Soul Whispers retreat and answering any questions that you have about that at the end. But if you haven't heard, I'm doing a retreat. It's called the Soul Whispers retreat. It's happening in Joshua Tree, California, at the end of this year. I'm so excited about it. It is going to be incredible. I already booked the Airbnb. It's just incredible. And it's happening December 30th to 31st. It's the Saturday and Sunday right before New Year's. And we're going to also have a little optional New Year's party in case you can stay and you don't have to work on Monday the next day. So if you're flying in, all the information of how to get there and where to fly into is on my site, is on my webpage. All the links are going to be down in the description. And if you are driving in from LA, like I would love to have you there. There's going to be places for you to park. You can stay at their Airbnb if you want to. I only have one more room left. Otherwise, you can just stay in the area. It's going to be a beautiful 2-day retreat where you're going to rejuvenate your energy and reclaim your power. The whole theme of the retreat is right? The word that kind of is a prefix to restarting something, right? Becoming new again, going back to where you were, right? Returning home to yourself. And so it's going to be where you can reestablish your truth, reinvent yourself if you want to, right? Reclaim all of the things, all of your energies, all of your thoughts, all of your beliefs, all of your truths that maybe have been outsourced to other people, right? The sovereignty that maybe has gone away over time. And it's time to bring all of that back so that you can start 2024 with this new energy. And that's going to be my little segue into our reading today. So if you want to learn more about that, like I said, this is in the description box. Early bird pricing ends on the 7th, just really soon. Oh, okay. So we have a very clear, look at Cleo. If you're watching the video replay of this, Cleo is just like on the couch, sunbathing like a princess, like the princess that she is. Okay. Anyways, so we had a card fall out immediately. We have the 3 of Cups. Okay. And the 3 of Cups is a beautiful card that is like the friendship card. The Cups family is all about emotions. It's about feeling our feelings. And here we see these 3 women who have their cups up to the sun and is welcoming in like the new day, welcoming, celebrating, being joyous, being loving together. And this is honestly going to be so much of the energy of the retreat. So I'm really excited this came up. But for you coming into 2024, it's going to be asking you to really look at your support system, right? Do you have friends around you? Do you have mentors around you? Do you have guides, coaches, therapists, family members, whoever it is? Do you have people around you who you can go to, who you can feel all of the feelings with, who you can celebrate with, who want the best for you? Do you trust that the people that are in your life are actually going to be happy for your success, joyful about your success, want to add to your happiness, your success, and all these things? Or are these the people that you feel like you have to tone yourself down with, right? Do you have people around you who you actually feel like you can't talk about your business with, you can't talk about your new relationship with, you can't talk about, these happy things that happen because there's somebody who just always complains. There's somebody who tears you down. You feel like you're going to make them feel guilty for not having. I've worked with people in the past who have like some level of privilege in their life, and they feel like that they can't talk about that with their friends. They can't talk about what they got for Christmas, or they can't talk about what they want to do, or the choices that they're making between going on vacation to like one place versus the other, because it might make somebody feel bad, right? There's so many entrepreneurs, so many business people, so many healers, coaches out there who feel like they can't talk about what they do online because other people are going to bring them down, or people are going to question them, right? Or you can't talk about your success because again, it's going to make other people feel bad. That's all bullshit, right? And that bullshit stops now. Find the people in your tribe who truly celebrate with you, who truly are joyful for you, who have your best interest in mind, and who love seeing you succeed. Because this is the paradigm that you're shifting into when we think about 2024, the year of abundance, right? It's a year 8 for the collective. 2 plus 0 plus 2 plus 4 equals 8. And that year of abundance is this constant flow, right? We think of the infinity sign, like the number 8 is just like an infinity sign. It's constantly in motion, constantly flowing. That energy is constantly moving. And the work that you should have done this year, right? And if you haven't yet, don't freak out. You still have the rest of this year, right? But really, you got to slow down and focus and listen within. That energy is going to allow you, right? That year 8 energy, that flow, that abundance, that's going to be hindered if you don't have people around you who feel like you can be flowing with, right? So keep that in mind when you're thinking about your social circle this year and like who you're inviting into your world. So the next card, we have the 5 of Stars. And within the 5 of Stars, this is also known as the 5 of Pentacles in traditional tarot, if you're familiar with that deck. But within the 5 of Stars, we see this woman who is in a cave, kind of depressed, right? Just hugging herself. She's naked. She's lying on the floor crying. What is this like? That one song, forgot what it's called, where she's like lying naked on the floor. Yeah, right, whatever. I think that's how it goes. Maybe that's me mixing 2 songs. Anyways, she has she's the 5 of stars. We have these, she's in this cave, right, with these 5 stars hanging above her. This is such a transition. It's a transition of your material world, and it shows this loneliness, and I think with these 2 cards together, it's like, you can go through these phases, you can go through these waves where you feel like you're in a cave, you feel like you're in this loneliness, you feel isolated, you feel alone, you feel so down on yourself, right? Because you're going through a transition, because your material world is no longer the way that you thought it was going to be. Like your business, your finances, your friendships, the clothes that you like wearing, the food that resonates with your body, all those things can be changing. You could be haven't eaten meat for your entire life and then all of a sudden you feel sick when you eat meat, right? Or you could be vegan and then all of a sudden you feel like you're missing something and you're seeing yourself crave like fish or meat or something, after years of not having it. And all of these things are really interesting. It's here to challenge your paradigms again. It's here to challenge you. It's here to show yourself like, hey, am I going to keep doing what I was doing in the past because I'm, trying to live by a past version of myself who made a promise to myself that like, oh, these are the people that I have to be friends with. These are the types of foods I have to eat. These are going to be the things I have to do. This is the way to do business, blah, 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 right? Like I have to talk to these people. These people have always been in my life. Whatever it is, right? Is the things that are leaving you feeling like you're in this cave and like in isolation in the dark going to be the rules that you set yourself up for the next year? You have to ask yourself like, what are you going to bring into the new year? And it's there's this duality to this card of you might have to feel isolated first. You might have to feel lonely at first. You might have to feel all this pain and discomfort at first when you start going into 2024, when you start making these changes. But that's all for a reason, right? That's like the clearing out energy. So I would recommend, like, really looking at where you need to clear out anything else from this year so that you can move into the next year having this abundance, right? Having this flow ready to go. Like you've already primed yourself for the flow, so there's no more resistance, right? It's like if you know that you have a clogged sink, you better get some Drano or something, right? You better tend to that, because if the longer you just let that drain be stuck, the more stuck it's just going to get, the more stuff is just going to fill up in that sink, and you're just not going to be able to use it properly, right? It's kind of like, oh, you can like wash your hands in the sink constantly and then just like let the water drip as much as it can. It's going to just take longer and longer and longer each time, so why not just get it done with, you know so feel the pain now. Feel the pain now so you don't have to feel it later, right? Feel it fully, gather all the strength. And that's what we see here in the Hermit in the next card. We see in the Hermit, with this transition that's coming and this flow that's coming for you, there's still some things that you need to do to kind of clear things out, right? The Hermit's all about going within, going deep into yourself, finding your true self. This year, 2023, was a year 7, which is all about introspection. It's about spiritual development. It's about really letting yourself be guided. And so much of what I've seen when people have the Hermit is that there's this ignorance that they are living in because they know there's something wrong in their life. They know that they're not happy. They know that they're limited in some way and they don't want to accept those limits. Here's the thing. As a human being, we are limited naturally. Okay, we are limited by our language. We can't even talk to most of the people on this planet because we all only know like one language, more or sometimes 2 languages, right? If you're really lucky, maybe you know 3 languages. But even then, it's like we can't talk with everybody. There's no way, right? So we're already limited in our connection. We're already limited in our ability to communicate. And we think about our bodies and so many people with chronic illnesses or just how sensitive our bodies are to homeostasis, right? Like even just 1 degree makes you like have a fever or like, whatever it is. So we're already all these limited, kind of like fragile beings. And at the same time, we have this infinite capacity to do things, to create, to, we have all these passions within us. We have all these desires, these dreams, and they're not there for, shits and giggles. They're there for you to go ahead and actually move forward in. They're there for you to explore because that's what life is about for you. Your life is about you being you. Your life is about vibing. Like that is your purpose. Okay. If you're over here trying to look for like some deep purpose of changing the world, or getting rid of homelessness, and making sure, like, ending world hunger, like, those are all great noble purposes. And what are you going to do about you? Right? You can't do anything unless you know who you are. You can't do anything unless you're taking care of you. And so the hermit's asking you to go within, to shine a light in the darkest corners of your psyche, of your emotions, of your desires, and really get clear, right? Clear out the cobwebs, clear out the negativity, clear out the doubt, clear out the sentiments that other people have left in your mind, in your heart, in your soul. Clear out any blockages so that you can really feel what is your truth, right? And so when you are able to feel your truth, we see, okay, we have two cards here, both beautiful. We have the 9 and 10 of cups. Okay, and I swear, like, this deck is super shuffled. But we have the 9 and 10 of cups, and with one behind the other. So we have the 10 of cups up front and the 9 of cups at the bottom, right? And the way that I see this is like what's happening in the conscious and subconscious mind, what's happening above and below. And what we see happening above is that we have this joy, right? The 10 of cups has this image of this couple who are like hugging each other, have their arms raised. We have the sun rising above in the horizon. We have this river that's flowing. We have a horse. We have these kids playing. We have like literally a rainbow with 10 cups on it, right? And kind of similarly here with the 9 of cups, we have 9 cups above, like on this tree, and this woman who's naked meditating on this lotus flower, right, in the water. And the cups, again, is all about emotions, because what is life but just a series of emotions, a series of thoughts and emotions, right? The bigness, the pain, the suffering, the joy, the abundance, the success, the love, all of those things are just emotions. Like, we can try to achieve something, we can try to achieve a goal and be goal oriented people, because that makes us feel purposeful, that makes us feel meaningful, that makes us feel connected. But at the end of the day, when you reach that thing, that does not guarantee the feeling that comes with it, right? Anybody who has gone through disordered eating knows this, or eating disorders, or anybody who has gone through, who has like pressure put on them by immigrant parents, or by yourself, by a teacher, to get a certain job, right? You know that once you hit that weight goal, when you're under that calorie goal, when you get the job, it's like, okay, cool. I feel good. I feel successful. I've achieved something. And you feel that for a moment, a split second. And then the next day, now you start over again. Are you going to be able to be under your calorie goal? Are you going to be able to maintain your weight? Oh, holy shit. Like, how did you gain a pound like overnight? Right? Maybe because you're a woman. Maybe because you're like ovulating, right? Maybe because we're not meant to stay static. Same thing with like the job. Then you wake up and you're like, holy crap, like, how do I maintain the success? How do I make sure I don't get fired from this job? Right? This is why safety is such an illusion. Like, security is such an illusion, especially in a job, because you don't have the feelings that go along with it. Now, this is not to say that you have to be an entrepreneur. Entrepreneurship is not for everyone. But I want you to be very intentional with what are you trying to create in your life, right? What is going to bring you this joy and this happiness, this success? And I see so many people want to create the relationship, want to create the business success or whatever it is, and then they are so focused on just getting the thing that they forget how they feel throughout the process, and then it's not as great as they thought it was. And they have to lie to themselves. They have to lie to themselves when they're in the relationship, being like, "Oh, no, 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 I'm so happy. I'm so happy. We're fine." Like, all these great things. This is what I wanted, right? This is what I wanted, right? This is what I wanted, right? But it's not, because what you really wanted was the love, right? What you really wanted was the acceptance, somebody to spend time with and feel rejuvenated by, somebody who understands you. You wanted to be seen, you wanted to be felt, you wanted to be heard, you wanted to feel accepted, you wanted all of these things. You wanted all these feelings. You wanted to just be in your being and have this trust that you are enough, you are worthy, you are loved. That is different from a person. That's not attached to a person. You need to learn how to discern the feeling that you want from a certain thing. You have to discern the process, the journey that you have to do internally, right? From the journey externally of the actual steps of how to get something, right? You have to discern the feeling that you want to receive when you're in a relationship, when you are working on a business or your career, when you are having fun, doing anything, right? You have to discern the feelings from the actual things itself, right? That's how you grow detached. You don't need detachment from your dreams. You need detachment from the tangible, what it looks like, because it's not always going to look like what you think it's going to look like. But when you feel it, you'll know, right? When you feel that love, when you feel that acceptance, then you know that's the person, right? Or this is the container currently that feels that way. But if you can't feel those feelings ahead of time, right? Which is what we see kind of here in the Nine of Cups, right? This person is just so focused in their feeling. They're so at peace. They're so connected to themselves. They have all this joy, this abundance that's available to them, and they are just meditating on it, right? This is not, oh, let me grab all of the cups. Let me, drink all of it up. This is, I see it. I feel it. I am it. And when you can embody that, that is how the expression of it comes about. It's like the feminine and masculine, right? When you're in the feminine of, I can feel it now. I can feel it now. I know it's available to me. I know everything is available to me and I get to choose. And my freedom comes from me choosing. My freedom doesn't come from having all these available options, right? Like she has all these cups, but like which one is she going to get? Well, she has to choose, right? And when you choose, that's when you get the expression of it. That's the masculine. That's the you deciding. And you being in that masculine and having that balance, right? That's how you get this expression of the Ten of Cups. So you have these two beautiful cards here. Okay. So that's what I'm seeing for you for the rest of this year. Like that's really where I'm feeling like there's this focus coming about. Now, I want to get very clear on what's 2024 going to bring. We have the Nine of Shells. Okay, so again, the Nine of Cups. We have this again, right? These two cards are the same thing. I pulled a different deck now. I'm on the Spirit Sign Tarot deck, so we can look at animal spirit guides because I love animals and because I think, this is also one of the fun things about tarot and the way that spirit works is that it can deliver you symbols, messages. And so for you, right, and you see a penguin spirit, if you see a penguin anywhere, treat that as a reminder. Treat that as a reminder for you to be grateful because that's what this card is about. It's about gratitude and fulfillment. It's about feeling the feelings ahead of time, like feeling the feelings that you want ahead of time because you know it's available to you now. Like all we have is the present. All we have is right now. The moment that we're thinking about, the future, we're thinking about the future and then like time moves and we are just there. Right? And when we bring the past into the present, when we think about the past, that past feels so real because all we have is now. That's how we change our realities. We have to think about, feel into the future that we want to create. And so with this next year, so much of it's going to be how much gratitude can you feel in your life? How much can you really revel in the now? How are you structuring your day, your life, your year, your month, your relationships, your interactions with people, the way that you speak? The way that you speak to yourself in your mind internally and externally. What are the programs that are running within you? And is it in alignment with this gratitude and this fulfillment that you want? Right? Because if you think about when you get everything that you want, when you get the car that you want, when you get the relationship that you want, when you get the money that you want, how will you feel? Because if you think you're just going to feel like successful or you're going to finally feel enough, that's bullshit. That's the stuff that is keeping it from you because you think that you need those things. You think you need the external validation, the external success, the external manifestation in order for you to finally feel good enough for it, right? It's like, I need you because you being in my life proves to me that I am enough, right? It's like, as soon as somebody leaves your life, as soon as you can't make that payment on the car anymore, as soon as you get that eviction notice, like I'm going really like, worst case scenario here. But as soon as those things leave, then that self-confidence also leaves. Then your self-esteem leaves. Then your beliefs that you have built up around that thing, right? That you have built up because you have that thing, all those things leave. All those beliefs leave. All those good feelings leave. And you're left with what? You're left with, I'm not enough. I knew I couldn't have done it. see, this level of success is not for me. I'm not the person who can kind of maintain a relationship, right? If I went this long and I couldn't have made it work, then I could never make it work. That's the energy that you step into when you try to create from a place of lack, when you aren't doing that internal work to feel the feelings ahead of time, to know that you are worthy of what you desire. Because the reality is, when you are in alignment, right, when you have squeaky clean intentions for your desires, when you receive those things, you will feel gratitude. When you receive those things, you will feel fulfilled. It's not going to be from, I'm finally enough. I'm finally safe. I'm finally successful. Those are not the feelings that come out of true alignment and true receiving. When somebody unexpectedly gives you a beautiful gift, brings you a bouquet of flowers, pays for your dinner, and you had no expectation of that, how do you feel? You feel grateful. But how do you feel when you go into a date and you expect them to bring you flowers, pay for your meal, compliment you, all these things? You feel disappointment if they don't do that. Or maybe you feel shame and guilt. Like, why am I not good enough for them to do all these things that I wanted them to do? And there's a difference here of like, what are the standards that you're setting? But if you had a standard of that's what it was, you wouldn't be feeling disappointed. You wouldn't feel entitled if somebody didn't do you. It would just be like, oh, this is just not the person, because this is the way that I set myself up, right? This is what I expect. Same thing when it comes to business, when it comes to a career. When you are in a place of receiving, there's no expectations. You have your standards, right? You already set your prices. You know your walkaway number for your salary. You know the number of hours that you're willing to work, the number of hours that you're willing to go overtime if needed. You know the way that you want to be talked to, treated by your coworkers, by your boss. You know how you want to treat yourself in your business, the hours that you're willing to work, right? And not the protected time that you're going to have for yourself. And it's about you honoring your word for those things, you honoring your own boundaries with those things. Because if you don't meet your own expectations, then you're left with disappointment, guilt, shame, etc. And you forget you've chosen this. I think a big part of these two cards here, with the 9 of shells and the 9 of cups being the same card showing up twice, is so significant in understanding you need to be able to feel those feelings ahead of time, right? It's so significant in you remembering that you have chosen this life. And if you haven't chosen this life, if that's where the depression, the anxiety, the stress is coming from, right, for you right now, understand, how have you chosen this too? And that piece right there, that piece can be extremely triggering for a lot of people. They don't like hearing that. But and I know, when I was going through all my shit, right, and when I'm in those cycles, it's really hard to be like, yeah, no, I have chosen this, right? But it's true. If you feel this, like if you've become an entrepreneur, right, like I have, and you're feeling the stress of paying rent, you're feeling the stress of showing up on social media, you're feeling the pressures. Hate to break it to you, but you've chosen that. Because you could also easily just as choose to go into corporate, to get a job working at Starbucks, to live on, your childhood bedroom with your parents, to live on a couch. You could choose to live on the streets, live in your car. You could, and not feel this pressure to have to provide all these things that you want for yourself. But the reality is, you have chosen it. You've chosen the good things, right? The benefits, the dream, the vision. But you've also chosen that path. And your path doesn't have to look like suffering. That's the thing. When you can recognize that you've chosen your current reality and it's no longer acceptable to you, that is where you have power. That's where you recognize, these are the things that kind of come along with the territory. Like, that the life that you have right now, the choices that you've made, with the brain that you have, like, that's all here for a reason. And just as easily as you've chosen this and you've chosen the pain, like, you can also choose something else. You can also choose, okay, you can also choose something new. You can also choose to be prosperous. With the Three of Crystals, this is also known as the Three of Pentacles. We have the bee spirit. And this is so much of what I was just talking about, right? It's a reminder for you to put in the work. The Three of Crystals is about collaboration. It's about productivity, right? It's this beautiful card that we see. And we see the bee as like some of the most, it's like one of the most humble animals in the entire animal kingdom. It's one of the most altruistic. They don't live very long. I did this whole like tea with the bees experience. They don't live very long, but they are these beautiful creatures that put in the work and pollinate, give us life, give us these plants, allow us to continue thriving. They serve the queen without question, and they treat the queen so like incredibly. Everyone knows their place. Everyone knows what they need to do, and they know their mission inherently. Right? They just live their purpose every single day. And when they die, they die. But they've lived a full life. And so this is asking you, like, if you truly want what you say you want, are you willing to put in the work? And I want to point out two things here. There's the type of people who have been kind of trained to work really hard at things. And it's not about your ability to work hard. It's not about your capability to work hard. Because like I know how to pull all-nighters and grind away at a project. Yeah, I did that for years. Throughout all of my high school, throughout all of my college, I pulled so many all-nighters. I know how to sacrifice. I know how to sacrifice my sleep. I know how to sacrifice my peace. I know how to sacrifice myself, what I want. I know how to sacrifice my truth. I know how to sacrifice my soul to a certain extent, right? Like I felt so disconnected from myself for so long, for almost 2 decades of my life. And I'm not that old, I'm very young. And I spent so much of it sacrificing, so much of it working hard. But working hard at what? Right? This is where you have to ask yourself, this is not about you working hard for working hard's sake. This is about you working hard on the path that you have chosen for yourself, for the mission that you have chosen for yourself, because you know what your role in this world is to you. And like I said at the beginning, your role is to vibe here, right? Your purpose, your mission is to vibe, is to be truly you. Because when you are being truly you, you're also able to create. You're also able to be passionate. There's this idea of, suffering coming from doing, right? And not from being. But I don't think that this suffering comes from you doing as in like, oh, if you're working, that's suffering, or if you are cooking or cleaning, like and doing something and like, that's suffering. I don't think the solution is, hey, let's just like hold hands, sing kumbaya and just chill in the sun all day. Like that sounds beautiful. Maybe do that sometimes, but that's not the answer because you have energy. When you are an energetic being, you need to use that energy, but you use it in alignment with you, and that is you being you. Right? In mindfulness, we see like this whole idea of stillness because you're human beings, not human doings. And here's what I have for that is like when you are being productive, which is funny because we have a picture of a bee here and it says productivity. When you are being productive, it needs to be because you is a direct result of you being you. Because you as a human have creative force, have creative energy, have passion. It's like when you are loving, when you're being loving to somebody, that might express as you cooking them a meal, as you giving them a hug, of you guys having incredible sex, right? But that's not you doing love. That's you being loving. Unless it's coming from a place of I should do these things. This is what it looks like to be a good partner. I think that's what I've been told. That's what I've told myself, that I need to cook this many meals, that I need to say these certain things, that I need to hold myself back in these ways, that I need to have sex this many times, or this is the type of thing that a good person does, that a loving person does. That is you doing a rendition of you, and that is where suffering comes from. Suffering will come from you doing a rendition of you, you being somebody that you are not, because that is where you move into doing energy. That's where effort is created. Okay. And for you to live an effortless life, it's not about you not doing any work. It's about you doing the things that feel easy to you, that feel aligned to you, that the choice is easy, right? Not that you're not going to go through hardships, not that it's not going to require you to maybe, yeah, stay up late sometimes, but you're going to be doing it from a place of such passion, such purpose, such intensity, such love, that that is the reason why are able to put in the effort, right? So it becomes effortless when you are just being you. We don't do productivity, we be productive, right? We are being productive when we are in the state of flow, whether that is writing a sales email, right? Whether that is, doing applications for something, whether that is working on a project for your work, whether that is coaching your clients, whether that is, cooking for yourself, whether that's going out and completing tasks for your day. You're in the flow of it. When you're in your life, when you're in your flow, that is you being. It is when you're out of your flow, when you're in your head, right? And you're thinking about all these things that you have to do, and like, how do you have to do it? And how can I get there? And how? People sound like a fucking broken record, and I'm sick of it. I get asked so many times, how? How do I just be happy? How do I be productive? How do I, become more magnetic, become more attractive? How do I become richer? And I've been in those places too. Okay. I'm no better than you. And what that looks like, what the how looks like, is you being you. Sounds kind of ridiculous, right? And if you want to believe that, no, you have to do something differently to get to where you want to be. You have to change yourself. You have to change everything, right? Like, we see the energy of like New Year's being, okay, now you make a resolution, and now all the changes happen, right? Now you must stick to this plan for 21 days. Now you must do this thing for 3 months. Now you must blah, 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 blah. And here's steps A through Z. We see so many articles online of like 16 ways to fight depression and 13 ways to get your ex back and blah, 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 right? We see so much of that. And none of it works. None of it sticks. When you're in the feeling, right? When you're in the shitter, you're not thinking about the article that told you 16 ways to get out of your depression and like the 13 ways to get over an ex or to get somebody back. You're not thinking about those things. All you're thinking is about how miserable you feel and how incapable you feel and blah, 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 right? Because it doesn't work. It doesn't work to try to have a plan and to do, right, to put in the effort. You become yourself. You become the version of you that just naturally does those things. You step into that. So I want to clarify this more for you. Let's see what else comes up for you, what you need to hear as you go into this next year, as you transition, right? We see the two of feathers. We see decisions and directions. You have to pick a decision. This is the little gecko spirit. Okay. The two of feathers here is also known as the two of swords. It is about knowing that with every cut, right, with a sword, double-edged sword, it's always a double-edged sword. You say yes to something, you're saying no to something. You say yes to keeping the $10,000 in your bank or the $10 in your bank, right? So you don't do the coaching program. You don't go on the retreat. You don't move places. You don't buy the coffee. You don't buy the, organic strawberries and the spinach and the potatoes, right? You do the conventional ones. You stay with where you're at. You keep that money into savings for a quote rainy day when you really need something, right? When your safety, your physical safety is on the line. That's when you can use that savings, because your physical safety is the only thing that's truly real. And yet every day you suffer mentally. Yet every day emotionally you're going through turmoil, you're confused, and you're binging Netflix. You're eating foods that don't serve you. You're overthinking. You're overanalyzing. You're not living your life. And you're leaving so much on the table. You're leaving so many aspects of your own health, your own wellness, your own spirituality. You're leaving opportunities at the table because you don't want to use that money for something that you actually do need because you haven't decided that those needs are true needs for you. You haven't decided those are as valuable to you as your physical safety. You haven't decided that the future opportunities that can come from all those things are worth it, are worth that money, right? And I'm not saying put yourself in a position where you're even more mentally stressed because you can't handle that. But it's about understanding that everything it is that you want, right? Whether it's from the organic strawberries, right? And the energy of you knowing that peace of mind of like, hey, I'm eating these organic strawberries. I bought these things because I know it's better for me. I know it feels better to me. I can taste the difference, right? So I will pay for the difference. It's the energy of, no, I value what I want and I want it. I want it, I'm choosing it. Not, I can't do it. Not because you think that you're choosing some form of safety over the other, right? But because you have chosen, right? You have made a decision, not because you think you have to, but because you've chosen it. And so the two of feathers is kind of you're going to be facing a lot more decisions. You have to face a direction. Right now we see this interesting paradox where there's so many choices that people have to make, especially if you're younger, especially if you've just gotten out of college or you're in the first few years of your job. We see this paradox of like there's so many directions and opportunities that you can go on that people get stuck. There's all these TikToks that are such funny memes of like, oh, what it's like to be in your 20s. And it's these people being like, I'm going to be a yoga instructor. And it's like, I'm going to start learning French. And it's like, should I do this thing? Should I do that thing? Maybe I should pick up this thing. Maybe I should become a travel influencer. And, maybe I should just live on like blah, blah, blah. Right. It's like, and you end up doing none of it. Right. You end up doing none of it or you end up quitting it. So this is where you get to choose. Again, freedom. Freedom is not you having these options all open to you. Freedom is not when you go to the grocery store and you go to the bread aisle and you see there's everything from Wonder Bread to Dave's Killer's bread and a million choices in between. That's not freedom. Freedom is you choosing, this is the one I want. Right? And part of freedom is, yes, get yourself to a place where you have all these options in front of you. Right? But you still had to go to the store. You still had to go to the store, right? That's the effort that you had to put in to go and make those options available to you. That's the work, right? That's the work for the relationship that you want, the money that you want, the opportunities that you want. It's you putting yourself in the place, you going and doing the work to get to the grocery store. You getting in front of the people. You're putting yourself out there on the apps in the real world, saying hi, blah, blah, blah. But then once you're there and you have these options there, the freedom is not keeping it all open. It's about you choosing, I'm going to swipe right on this person. I'm going to start a conversation with this person. I'm going to make my offer here. I'm going to post on social media. There's so many platforms now that you can post on. And I'm going to choose this one because this one lights me up because I want to. Because that one feels like liberating to me, right? Not because I feel like I should. Because you can be, at this point, you can be successful doing anything. You can make, I think Gary Vee talked about, like, you can become a millionaire if you're really passionate about snow globes and you want to make snow globes and you just make snow globe content all day. It's so niche now. Everything is so niche now. You can do whatever, but you have to choose. In here, we see the Seven of Pentacles. The Seven of Pentacles is like this hard work, right? The hard work that you put in to you making your dreams happen. And this guy kind of looks a little deflated. He has his little stick, right? He's looking at this bush like, oh, There's so much here. And he only has one by his feet, right? It might look like a mountain's piling up on you. It might look like, wow, there's so many things I have to do. And you might get deflated because you have so many choices to make. You have so many things you have to do. And I just want to remind you, it starts with one thing at a time, right? One thing at a time. And the choices become less overwhelming when you can really step into what it is that you want. And I just caught a glimpse of the bottom of the deck here, and we have a 10 of cups again. We have the 10 of cups, and the 10 of cups being right that beautiful fulfillment of you have everything that you want. You can have it all, you can have it all at once, but you can't build it all at once. You make the choices, you make the choice of what you want first, and you work on it, you build it, you maintain it, you move on to the next, right? And that's kind of where we see with the of Pentacles here, right? You can have everything that you want, but you start with one. We have the Six of Swords. In the Six of Swords, we see this person. I always look at this card, and it reminds me of like an immigrant. It reminds me of like the sacrifices that you had to make to get to where you wanted to be, right? If you have to leave something, and now you finally see the horizons. But this is about your thoughts. This is about the way that you think. And what are the thoughts that you've had to leave behind? What are the beliefs about yourself, the world, the way things work, business, relationships? What are the paradigms that you've had to leave behind in order to search for the new? And were you brave enough to go onto the shore, like into the ocean, and sail, not having seen the horizons yet, right? Not having known that you were going to make it to safety, but then you finally find the safety, right? You finally find the calm after the storm. And this man is celebrating, like, hey, here's the shore. We've made it. I can see it now. It all makes sense. Our sacrifice was worth it, right? And that comes from you having these new beliefs. That comes from you having the bravery. In this masterclass that I just did with Melanie Ann Lair, she reminded me of a simple truth that I had forgotten. And it is that there's two types of people in this world: the ones who need evidence to believe, and the ones who believe and magnetize the evidence to them. And I think that is one of the most powerful things, because this is the energetics of manifestation. This is how anything is created, is you had to believe first, right? We think of everything from Walt Disney to J.K. Rowling to the cup that you used this morning to, even your own life. You have evidence for this, truly, of you had to have belief first, and then it gets created. And then you apply yourself to those beliefs, and you are able to create success from it, right? It's not just you build it and people will come. You build it and you talk about it and people will come, right? You write down the manifestation of the type of person that you want to attract into your life, and you become a match for that person. You trust that that's coming to you. You keep doing what you're doing. You become the type of person who would have that type of partner, right? Something as simple as like saying, I want noodles for dinner. Okay, well, do you believe you can have noodles for dinner? And it might be like, of course I believe I can have noodles for dinners. I have noodles literally in my fridge right now. Or I have them in my cupboard. Or I can go to the store and buy noodles, or I can order them on Uber Eats. There's so many ways. There's actually so many ways. And that's something that's so important for you to know. There's so many ways that something can come to you. So you don't have to be attached to one way. But if you desire it, if you believe that you can have it, and so it is, it'll be yours, right? You just apply yourself to it. You keep that trust. You keep building, because as dinner time comes, right? You look at your pantry. Oh, I actually don't have noodles here. Okay, well, maybe I'll order it. Oh, where do I want to order it from? Let me choose a store. Let me choose a restaurant. Let me go do this thing, right? You make decisions. You make decisions that are in alignment with what it is that you want. If you really truly want noodles, you're not going to be like, oh, you know what? It's fine if I just have fruit. It's fine if I just don't eat today. Oh, I guess noodles just aren't for me. I guess like I'm allergic to noodles now because I can't have it and I repel it. No. Same thing with money, same thing with love. You don't repel it. You can have it. It's for you, but you have to believe it is. Okay, friends. That feels pretty complete. I'm going to draw 2 final cards very clearly. I'm going to draw 3 cards because 2 cards just popped out of this pile. This is what the universe wants you to know. It wants you to, this is so funny. I literally just pulled these cards for myself, literally both of these cards for myself the other day, and I shuffled them like twice and pulled each, and they both just popped up again. We have energy and we have create. They're both action cards. They're both what you need to do, what the universe wants you to do. And I think part of the doing, right, is again, you being you. You being in your energy and then creating from those places. It wants you to use your energy, right? To gather up the energy, the intensity, the passion, the power. This is lightning. You want to feel the lightning coursing through your veins. Maybe you can feel it right now. Maybe you feel it right now and you want to go create something. Maybe you feel it right now, you want to sign up for the retreat. Maybe you feel it right now and you want to go tell the person that you've been talking to that you love them, or like, hey, never talk to me again, right? Like whatever that courage that you need to like build up like lightning, go and strike and create, nurture your creative energy. Both of these cards together, right, is so powerful. Create energy and energy creates, right? Energy cannot be created nor destroyed, but energy is used. And when you create energy, you have room to express it, right? When you consume, you create to get rid of it. Otherwise, you become constipated, right? And you can do that energetically as well. You can become energetically constipated. That's where we feel stuck because you're not moving, because you've gathered all this information. I see this so much in personal development and in spiritual development too. It's like you have all these great concepts. You've listened to all the podcasts. Maybe you even listen to me, right? And you read my material and you're like, oh, this is so good. This resonates. What do? You just keep living the same life because you're afraid or you don't know, or you think you need something that you don't. You have it all within you, but then you just tell yourself you don't. And so you get stuck and you get depressed. And depressed is just deep rest, right? You need this deep rest. Or you are in a deep rest and you need to get out of it, right? You need movement. You need this creative force. You need to move. Get it out there. Apply what you know. Take the risk. Because the universe has your back here, okay? The universe literally wants to deliver to you this gratitude, like this life that you feel gratitude for. But if you look at the things that you can do and the things that you want the universe to do, you'll realize there's so much more that you have control over, that you can do, that is in alignment with where you're trying to go, than what you think. Right? The universe can only help, but it cannot do for you. Okay. I'm going to keep shuffling because these cards didn't pop out, but it didn't turn up. One final message from your soul that you need to hear. Are you treating your inner child with kindness, patience, and love? When was the last time you felt childlike wonder and joy? Okay. Answer this question for yourself and treat yourself like the inner child that you are, because the inner child is the version of you that's so connected to their power, right? But it's also the version of you that got cut from your power. So heal it. My spirit's name, if you've been with me for a while, you know that my spirit's name is Child of Wonderment. Literally Child of Wonderment. So when we see this being like, it's all about talking about your inner child, treating it with kindness, patience, and love. And when was the last time you felt childlike wonder and joy? This is as much as for me as it is for you. And this is also why I created the retreat. This is why I created the retreat, because the retreat is all about you coming home to yourself, of you slowing down, listening to yourself, feeling into your intuition, feeling into your emotions so that you can speed up, right? And it's not that this is so that you can speed up. That's just a result. That's just a bonus result. Because the slowing down in itself is valuable. The listening to yourself is valuable. The feeling your feelings is valuable. The you doing the introspection is valuable. It's valuable work in itself, because you deserve to just know who you are. You deserve to just feel the love. You deserve to have what you want. You deserve to take a break. And also, it's valuable because it allows you to move forward in the direction that you want to go. It's valuable because it allows you to now know with clarity, with confidence, having connected to your true self, what to do next, how to go about making your decisions, right? So find space for yourself this month and all throughout the next year, right? To make space for that wonder, for that joy. And I will say the Soul Whisper retreat is a really great place to start. If you're not the type of person who wants to go out and party and drink on New Year's Day, if you don't want to be spending time with, people who criticize you, you don't want to be just like at home, you don't want to just have a cuddle night in, right? You can invite your partner, you can invite your friends, you can invite your family members who are aligned with this. But if you really want to spend this next year for you, right, and tap into that abundance for you, and you love investing in yourself, you love feeling good, you love tending to your inner child, you love having fun, then this is for you. And I really want to invite you to come join me at Joshua Tree, December 30th to 31st. It's going to be a 2-day retreat. All the information, the invitation is going to be down below in the description. You can go to my site at jensui.com. That's JENCUI.com. Or on my Instagram, and you'll find all the details there. Early bird pricing ends on December 7th. That is tomorrow. If you're listening to this today, on Wednesday the 6th, when we went live, ends tomorrow in less than 36 hours. So it'll save you $501. It's gonna be $1,999 for you. 999. It's a beautiful number because it represents the completion of a cycle, the ending of a cycle. And then after that, it's going to go up to the regular price of $2,500. Okay. And it's first come, first serve for the rooms in the Airbnb. We have only one room left. And it is an additional cost if you want to stay at the Airbnb, but then you'll be able to be there. You can be there from Friday night, from the day before we start, so that you can wake up in the morning and just join us in your PJs, or you can dress up. And you can have time to just sit in the sun because it's beautiful. There's a pool, there's like a beautiful view of the city nearby and of Joshua trees. There's a backyard, there's a basement, there's like a hot tub, there's like games. You're gonna be with people who are soul sisters, soul siblings to you, who are all there for the same reason, because they're here to reclaim their energy, reclaim their power, and they're stepping up. And this is not everybody. This is for the ones. This is for the ones like you. So if you feel called to it, I really want to invite you to join me. Check it out. Book your spot ASAP. Let me know if you want to stay at the Airbnb. Otherwise, you can find somewhere else to stay, like around the area. There's other places that you can stay if you want to be by yourself, right? Or if there's no more room. If you want to stay with a roommate, if you want to come bring a friend and you guys want to share a room, you guys can both share the room together. That's fine. Just let me know. And I hope that you found that this energy reading was helpful for you. I know it was for me, and I enjoyed it so much delivering it to you. So until next time, stay well.